The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Many years ago, so I had a meeting in my office with my girls. At that point, we had Ornava, we had the seminary at Teres Nava, Shabbatones, Avinu Malkeinu, a play. We were doing so much stuff, it was like off the wall, and I only had 3 girls working for me. And they were very overworked. And I met this guy in the ice skating rink, and he said, I happened to have taken one night off to take my grandchildren ice skating. Hashem runs the world. Moshe Rabbeinu went into the desert to get away, and there's the bush. Hi! He tried to get away from Hashem and go and be by himself. It's like, Shalom Aleichem, you're going back to Egypt to take Klal Yisrael out. That's Vayeshev Yaakov. He wanted to sit and rest. Boom, there goes Yosef. So I wanted to go ice skating with my grandchildren. So I go ice skating, and this guy I don't know comes over to me and says, you're Rabbi Wallerstein? I'm like, yeah. He says, we have a major problem going on in Brooklyn. I'm like, what's the problem? He says, I run the Jewish board of mental health on Quentin, the corner of Quentin and Coney. We have all these young girls coming to us for therapy. They're not in school. They're on the streets. They don't go to school. They sleep all day. They're out all night. So as much therapy as we're doing, if you're not in school and you're just chilling and hanging out, our therapy isn't working. We need a high school for these kids. I'm like, so build one. Like, what do you want from me? Like, I'm busy, right? He says, you have to open a high school. I said, listen to me. I got a seminary. I got Ornava. I got a business. I got a family. I got a life. I'm not opening no high school. So, of course, when you say that, he said to me, oh, so you don't care about Jewish kids, do you? I'm like, I have like 1,000 girls in Ornava. I'm like, okay, mister. What's your name? He tells me Louis Wells. I'm like, okay, here, Louis. Not the song, but I said, Louis, here's the deal. You give me a floor for free in your building. You give me 12 therapists for free in your building. Then we'll talk. I'll bring the kids and I'll bring the staff. But you got to first do that for me. I'm figuring they're not giving me no floor. They're not giving me no 12. The next day I get a phone call. We're ready. Okay, I come to the office and I sit down and I call a meeting, and my girls are very scared when I call a meeting because I'm going to do. The worst thing for them is when I go to Florida. When I go to Florida, I lay in the sun and I think. Not good for me to think. So when I think, I'm like, why aren't we doing this? I never look at what we did. I look at what I didn't do. So I come back and have this whole thing like, okay, we're going to open a ranch. We're going to open a therapeutic center. They're like, don't go to Florida. Don't go to Florida. But anyway, I come and I sit down, and I'm like, okay, listen, we have to open a high school. And they're like, what? I'm like, not just a plain high school, a high school for special kids that are on the street, that are emotionally stressed. We got to do this. And they're like, we don't have money for Ornava. We haven't paid our bills. We're under, like, hello? Like what? Now you're going to start raising money for that also? I'm like, you don't understand. We're getting a floor. You already spoke to the guy? You didn't even come to us first. You already spoke to the guy? I'm like, yeah, and we're going to do this. And a girl gets up and says, Rabbi, look at me. I'm like, yes, we're not doing this. It is impossible. We don't have the money. We don't have the staff. Where are you going to get the teachers? Where are you going to get the kids? They're in the street. They're not interested. It's impossible. Other girl says, that's the worst word you could have used. Because when you tell Wallerstein it's impossible, that's when he decides to do. If you would have said, oh, it's easy, we can do this, it's nothing, he would have said, forget it. The greatest reward for me in BCA is to be successful. That's all I want. I don't want a reward. I don't need Gan Eden for it. I don't need anything. The greatest reward is when a girl who came in to broken and broken, and you put Humpty Dumpty back together again, and she's married, and she's happy, and she's growing, and she's from. I don't need any kudos. That is the Vayita. That is the best reward there is.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org